welcome back to the Atypical Hunter podcast. I'm Chris Begbie, and with me as always is a man who some say he thinks that the Credit Crunch is some kind of breakfast cereal. All we know is he's very educated, Dr. Kyle Mork. On this episode, I recap my closest encounter with a buck to date, and Kyle's back from his hunt in Kentucky. He's still reeling from the heartbreak he's experienced down there. He's learned a lot about himself, his process, and the mental aspect of hunting. Mistakes happen to all of us, and all we can do is learn from them. So sit back, enjoy the ride. It can be a little bit emotional here and there, and happy hunting.
Where'd that come from?
Got my Runella Putelis 2020 campaign sticker, which I was very excited about. You haven't seen they're doing that pretend run for president thing?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it, but
Figured I'd put it on my Yeti. It'd be a nice little decal.
that's a good spot for it. Isn't that where Seth put his too? I think I saw Seth.
Did he? I don't know. I didn't see that.
Yeah, Seth had something on there with all that stuff from BHA. But
That would make sense.
well, it looks like you had a good weekend then, since your bumper sticker came in.
Yeah, it's a little pricey. It's like $11 with shipping for a bumper sticker.
For a bumper sticker.
Which it was like, $6. It's like, all right, it's $6.
And then shipping.
And then $5 for shipping, or $6 for shipping, or something. That's like, bastards.
Everything should just be free shipping now.
Amazon's ruining it for everyone else.
Yeah, the art of instant gratification.
Yep.
But yeah, I have figured out one little trick with Amazon. You always order enough for same day, and if it doesn't come, you call and complain, you get a credit.
Really?
Yep. I've done it like 3 times now.
Interesting.
So I figure they make enough money they can swing that. That's kind of my cheap way of getting out of it.
And they also don't pay any taxes, corporate taxes, Amazon.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Because everyone wants them to be in their location, so they give them like tax breaks on everything. It's
God
insane.
bless America.
It's insane. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so you are back from Kentucky.
I'm back from Kentucky.
And I'm back from staying where I was, but still hunted a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Since our last podcast, I'm going to go first this time.
Yeah, you go
I probably
first.
have less to say than you do. But I had my probably most exciting day of hunting so far.
That's right.
Which was really cool. I had hunted an area I had been a couple times before and hadn't seen anything, so I decided to get down and walk around and see if I could find some more sign. It snowed that day. That's right. It snowed that day, and there's a bunch of tracks that I saw. I was like, I might as well just follow these and see what I can find, and maybe I'm just not set up in the right area or whatever. So I followed them, and this was probably like the most frustrating day of hunting because I followed them into brush, which was so thick I could not get through any of it. I was miserably
making a shit ton of noise.
Yeah, I made a shit ton of noise. I was hot and sweaty. I got turned around like 3 times, and then my GPS on my phone wasn't working. So I was like, okay, this is really fun. Walking around in circles. Like I literally walked into my own tracks 3 times. Like what the hell is happening here? So that was enjoyable. It was all hot. It was probably like 12 degrees outside, and I was sweating my ass off because I was just like fighting through briars and brush the entire time.
Jeez.
Which was great.
Did you have your tree stand on your back while you were doing that?
No. I left my tree stand where it was.
At least you didn't have that to contend with.
Luckily, yeah. I knew I was just kind of done for the day. I just whatever. My patience had just given out at that point. I was just like, I'm just gonna go look for something else.
Yeah.
So I wandered around. Didn't find really anything from the tracks that I was trying to track for whatever reason. I don't know what was going on. And then I was just looking on HuntWise and Google and OnX to figure out some other areas, and there's an area which has very little timber that I hadn't been in before just because I wanted to set up in a tree stand.
Mm-hmm.
But figured I might as well go check it out, and there's a ton of sign out there.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole other area is huge, first off. They're like patches of trees. It's ag country for sure. I mean, it's cow pastures, basically.
Okay.
And there's a couple islands of trees kind of in the middle here and there, and some strips going, like if they're separating a pasture or two. But on the outskirts of that, it's just kind of tall grasses and low bushes and
Those
things
patches are those. Can you set up a tree stand in those?
Yeah, I think I might try that this week.
Yeah, that might be
Something out there
good
because
option.
there's definitely less people out there. I mean, it's further away. You have to walk a mile and a
darn.
half in.
Yeah.
So it's further, less convenient, obviously, but less people. I mean, I think it's big enough where it could definitely conceal a deer or a bed, like have a bed down there if they wanted to. So I mean, I haven't gone out there yet, but it might be worth
Might be
check.
worth a look on Saturday, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Which is our opening day of gun season, right? Or is that Friday? Friday is opening day of gun season. First gun season. But so I was looking around there. There's a bunch of sign, but there was no trees anywhere near where the sign was. There was rubs, scrapes, poop all over the trails, everything. So decided I was going to do the ground blind. I asked see if I could borrow your ground blind.
Yeah.
And then talking to our other buddy Luke, he said just do a brush blind. There's plenty of brush there that you can just hide behind, which would be fine.
But there was a rationale behind not using the ground blind too.
Well, that and they would be not accustomed to a ground blind yet because you're just popping it up that day.
Yeah.
It might scare them away.
Yeah.
Which is fair. So didn't do that. Just did the brush blind, and I found kind of this little pocket. It's like a clearing within these tall shrubs, I guess, which are pretty thick. But I cleared out the whole inside, got all the leaves out of there, so it was nice and quiet to walk around in there. I mean, it was probably half the size of this room we're in now. So,
a 6 foot by 4 foot area. Maybe?
Yeah, which is good. I mean, I had plenty of room to walk around, and you couldn't see me at all while I was in there.
Like your own little den in there.
It was. The problem with that was you couldn't see me in there, but you couldn't shoot out of there. Except for the entrance or the opposite. So on either end of it you could shoot out, but not on the sides.
Gotcha.
Which I thought was fine because the trails went through the entrances, basically, or went past the entrances.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that would be fine. And then towards the end of that morning, it was probably around 10 o'clock or so. I'd sat all day, hadn't seen anything. I ended up just walking around 9:30 because I was just gonna call it the morning at that point. Started walking around 9:30, didn't see anything. Tried to just find a new sign or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and
just kind of find the next spot.
Yeah, and I came back and I was like, I'm just gonna sit for 15 more minutes or so. It was probably around 10 o'clock at that point, and I just sat back down in that little stool you lent me, and I hear something walk behind me, which I didn't think you could do that. But there's a 6 point that walked right behind me, maybe from here, probably from here to the wall away, maybe.
That close.
It was close, and then it bed down probably it was probably when it walked behind me, it was probably 4 yards, 3-4 yards away, but then it bed probably 7 yards away.
Wow.
Something like that, and I
saw
saw
it was that close.
I saw it just lay down. I had no idea I was there. I mean, it couldn't see me. The wind was in my favor, so it couldn't smell me.
Good.
And it couldn't hear me because I was walking on the dirt and not the leaves. So I was quiet. I mean, it was perfect. If I had a clear shot, it would have been an awesome end of that, but I didn't. So I was trying to get out of the entrance and then slowly move my way over to an area where I could shoot this thing, which I needed to take probably 2 or 3 very short steps to my left to get out to shoot it.
So did you, when you were moving, did you draw before you moved?
No.
Or did you just move and then you were going to draw?
Yeah. I can't, for the time I thought it was going to take me to move quietly, there's no way I could hold my bow for that long.
Oh, yeah, with that.
That would have been, the first step took me about 5 minutes to take anyway. I just stood there staring at it, thinking, is it going to hear me if I step? Because they were tall. I mean, they were 3 foot tall grasses to my left, which I had to step on. I'm all right, is it going to move? It had just bed down. It was licking itself. It was not moving.
Jeez.
I was all right, what am I going to do? So I ended up being able to take one step. I was trying to wait for wind to take a step so that it wouldn't hear me.
Yeah.
And at work the first time, I took a very small step, maybe a 2 foot step or something like that to my left, and put all my weight back down on my left foot, and it was fine. It didn't hear me, didn't even look up. Everything was groovy. So then I waited again to see if it would move. Nothing. And then I lifted my foot up, like barely touched the grass the second time. And I felt like it was way quieter. I don't know if the wind had stopped at the wrong moment or something like that. But like as soon as I touched foot to grass, it was gone. It didn't even look at me. It just heard something and bolted. Yeah. Which I was like, how that could have been like a freaking leaf.
Yeah.
Hitting the ground.
Snowball or something off the ground or off the top of the tree.
And it bolted like that. I had never seen anything move off of that before.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the doe and the fawn, and you saw the fawn and everything, like I was making way more noise. I was running at the small doe that I saw.
Yeah, I was jacking around from stuff in the tree, and it was still just hanging out underneath us.
From not far away at all. I mean, it could see me if it wanted to, and that thing didn't move. So I was very surprised. But it's probably more pressured since it's a buck, and this is a pretty high pressure area. So it ran off into the thicket again, which is a great area for it to be in because you can't get in there. Like, there's no way you're gonna get in there.
Not quiet, at least.
Yeah. But it was pretty freaking exciting. I mean, the bed, I didn't even realize this bed was here. It was like, I went back into it to kind of like chase after it a little bit to see where it was, but you had to like crawl under brambles to get in there. And then there was a little clearing which you can't see from the trail where all the other deer walk on, where it had like another huge area for it to bed under like a small sapling, which had, rub on it, and there's scrapes in there and bedding area and everything. But it was fun. My heartbeat was going pretty good, just like in anticipation. It was weird. It was like a calm excitedness. Yeah. I guess. Like it was, like senses were very more aware of everything going on than previously. And I guess that's what buck fever is. I mean, I didn't feel like overwhelmed or anything. Like I didn't feel shaky, but it was more like an underwhelming version of Spider Sense that Spider-Man would have, something like that. So it was fun. I mean, that made my morning. It was the closest I had ever been to a buck, other than the ones in our forest reserve, which you can't shoot.
Yeah, that we walked right up and almost petted the other day.
Right. So that was pretty cool. And then I went back yesterday. It was 2 days later, and hunted an area which I thought it might like be cruising from to get back to its bed again. The way I thought it had come on Friday. But I didn't see anything. Saw possum and a couple squirrels and a bunch of cows grazing in the field. Which
were you and my brother in the same area?
No, he was in that strip of trees he was in a big like timber area.
Gotcha.
So we were
oh, that's right, because you went to the other side of that path. Yeah.
I will say that possum gave me pretty much the same feeling though.
You should have shot it.
Until I saw that it was a possum. I was texting someone. It might have even been you, but I was texting somebody, and like I heard something moving very quietly and slowly through the woods. At least I thought quietly. I was like, shit, it's a deer. It's definitely walking towards me.
Yeah.
It took it like 3 minutes probably to kind of come, but I could hear it coming the whole way, and then the little bastard shows up and says, this little possum. Like, aren't these things supposed to be nocturnal?
No.
So that was all I saw yesterday, but Friday was a fun day.
Yeah,
so that was a close experience. So
that was cool to get that text that you were close, you saw it, and you were kind of going through your process.
I don't know what else I would have done differently if I could have done anything. I mean, I was thinking maybe I should have just like ran fast and like drawn, but I feel like that would have just spooked it too, obviously. But that'd be the only other thing I could have thought of, is just move quickly and maybe it would catch it by surprise and then do that. But that was my first ground hunt, and that was pretty cool for my first ground hunt.
That was surprising. I mean, it gives a little bit more confidence, and kind of makes me think of changing the plan up a little bit come late season with how we end up kind of running and gunning a little bit more. Maybe sit up in a stand for the first in a little bit. Take a little tripod seat and then hop down and just bounce around. Well,
it is nice to be light. It was the first time
you're going through a bunch of thick shit.
Right. I mean, it was. I didn't have the. It wasn't that cold that day, so I didn't have the hand muff which I like when I'm walking in. I usually keep my climbing strap and my tether in there, so that has some weight to it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have my harness on, so I wasn't restricted in walking. Felt like a lot more loose.
Yeah.
Which was good.
Liberated.
Right. It felt nice to be not with tree stand stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of like free to move around a little bit.
Nice.
And it was cool to be able to move and not make any noise. I mean, walking on the dirt.
With your Spice Girl shoes?
With my Spice Girl boots, yeah, it was dead quiet. You couldn't hear a thing. So it was fun. It was
nice.
Cool. I'll probably do that again.
Seems like a good gun area.
Yeah. I mean, a slug probably could have gotten through there.
Yeah, you can kind of blast through the trees. So
right.
I got to look to see if there's permits still available for that county, because I'm going to go get one.
Yeah, you should. I think when I was talking to the DNR about the lottery, they said there's a chance you can get one come the season, but
it's whatever's remaining.
Right. So yeah, it's worth a shot.
But I think you have to go to a site, a sales site, to get it.
Like go to Bass Pro or something.
Yeah, or Dick's down the road. So I was gonna make a trip out there today, but we had to call an audible.
Right.
With some family stuff.
So that was my last week of hunting. I've been out. I think since we recorded, I've been out twice. The wife has given me some flack about not making work a priority and hunting the priority. So she's requested that I go a little less. We'll see if that happens or not. I don't know.
Yeah, tell her season's almost over. It's almost January.
Yeah, she's like, how long does the season go till again? It's like January. It's like another 2 months. It's like, well, it's only a month and a half.
Yeah.
First off, and it's a finite season. It'll end eventually.
We'll probably go out last.
She's like, doesn't your boss know that you're not around? I was like, no, not really.
Hopefully, he doesn't listen to his podcast either.
I mean, I don't. Even when I do hunt in the morning, it's not late. I'm typically like on Friday, crap was happening at the office where the internet was down and no one could do anything. So I answered probably like 30 emails from 7:30 to like the time I had left hunting. So I was working from the ground blind, which is great.
Well, it's a beautiful thing to be able to work remotely.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But she's been giving me flack about that. But yeah, that was my weekend review. You had a much more interesting week than that one, which I thought that was interesting for me, being that was a cool experience.
That was.
Yours was quite something else.
Yeah. So should I tell the end of it first, then work my way up from the beginning? That's usually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Here, I'll say this part. So I was packing up my bow, and I realized that the one arrow I have in my quiver with a field point was gone. So now we'll start from the beginning and tell you how I got to that point.
It's like in the movie where they show that. It's like
it's really the end. Like what was it? Breaking Bad, where they like the beginning of the season, they show you the very end, last part of the episode, last part of the season, and then they build up to it because you had no idea where it was going. Well, buckle up. So, was supposed to hunt with Braden. It didn't quite work out. He had gotten sick, and the second day, he said, he was wanting to go. Or, he told me he would take me out, but I knew he was sick. His kid was sick, and his wife was sick. So I was like, I know that he's doing this to, because he knows I'm in town for a short period of time. Because that's just, the kind of guy that he is. So I just told him, like, don't worry about, trying to squeeze me in on Sunday morning or whatever. Just I'll hang out with my family on Sunday morning, then I'll go hunt with my wife's uncle Bobby, who's my whitetail hunting mentor. He's who I shot Garrett's buck with. Yeah. So I knew he would put me on deer. So he got me set up.
So this is a spot, private land, public land?
Private land. Yeah, it was all private land this weekend. I hunted a little bit on my brother-in-law's property on Saturday. Didn't see shit, nothing worth really even talking about. But that was first time in the XOP Vanish, which was cool.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
It's comfortable. I liked it. I like it a lot better than the saddle. Honestly, for me, it's more maneuverable. Again, for the saddle hang on.
Easy to hang and
very, especially with the quick attach.
Yeah.
Just doing the straps from the right side, the correct side, was one of the things that I had to kind of mess with a little bit. But using that quick attach thing was so nice. but making I got to sit out there and make some tweaks to my equipment and just make it a little bit more efficient every time I get up the tree stand. So on Sunday I go out with Bobby, and he's like, you got to get real high. He's big on getting real high. Up on the tree, 20 feet.
All right, that's what we're usually doing, isn't it? How high are you going?
15.
Yeah.
I mean, if 4 muddies will get you between 12 and 14 feet, and you really got to stretch it out. But I was up probably 20 to 22 feet high. So I used a couple of the steps, the screw-in steps first, then used my sticks to get me up there, and I was way up there.
Which is nice that you can do that on private land.
Yeah. I didn't care too much for the screw-in steps. They were really a pain in the ass. I really like the muddies. I mean, it's just the rope. There's no buckle. There's nothing else to deal with. You just throw the rope around and cam it in. So I need to get like 2 more muddy sticks.
It's a lot of muddy sticks to carry around, though.
I don't mind. It's not. I mean, I don't mind the weight so much, and they're pretty packable. Honestly, if you have more sticks with the muddies, if you have more, it packs better. There's less room for them to
move around.
Jiggle around. So I got up there nice and high, and I was sitting up there and texting back and forth with Bobby, and about halfway through the sit, a little 4-point walks out to my 5 o'clock. So, and I still clear shot. I could have a clear shot at him had I kind of seen him. He's about 35 yards away behind some branches. So I just kind of waited and let him. He walked behind me and then up and away into the timber. So I was like, okay, well, there's definitely bucks in this property. Texted Bobby. He's like, yeah, it's a little guy. Don't worry about him. I don't really want you to shoot him anyway. So then this one he calls long time. About 2 hours after I saw that little 4-point, just comes hauling ass from my 7 o'clock. Because I had a really good, damn near 360.
So did he know that the other buck was on there?
He knew. He runs cameras out there, so he knows how many bucks.
No, I mean, did the long time buck come in because of the 4-point, you think?
No. So he came running in from my 7 o'clock, hauled ass down. If I would have maybe grunted or something, maybe I could have gotten him to stop. But he was moving way too. He was galloping through. Like he was just there was something got him going.
Yeah.
And he ran through and then ran the equal and opposite direction that the 4-point went. So got one that went way off to my 2, one that went way off to the 10 o'clock, and they were gone. I look behind me though, and I see 2 bucks moving around, just kind of circling around each other. And I thought I heard some fighting going on. But there's a big one that he's got on that property that he had photos of. He said he hadn't seen it during the rut yet. But he showed me the shape of the body, and I was like, I didn't see the head and the antlers, but I saw that. The body was like a giant oil drum. I mean, the thing
like
was,
a cow with antlers.
It was huge. Yeah. The body was enormous. And I didn't see the rack. I didn't see the head. Could have been just a giant doe, but I doubted the way that things were moving around. So those 2 bucks were dicking around behind me. They never really came into clear sight. I saw the smaller one. I saw the head and the antlers kind of move around, and then I saw him walk the opposite direction. The other one I just kind of saw walk across and disappear like a ghost. Yeah, which is probably why he's so big. And then around 3:45, 4 o'clock, I get a text from Bobby. He said, "Okay, since this is deer time." And he knows that property. Any property he hunts, he runs cameras, he runs bait, runs corn out there, and he knows when those deer are going to show up. I mean, you see his wall.
You know the bait in Kentucky?
Yeah. You see those his wall. He's got giant bucks all over his wall. He's probably, I mean, not as many as Braden's dad does down in his basement, but it's probably about 15, 20.
Big ones.
Big bucks. I mean, for me, they were big bucks. For someone who's, a cowboy, they'll say, "Oh, none of those are Pope and Young or whatever." But whatever, fuck them. So he goes, "It's deer time," and so I was like, "Okay, so now I really gotta, put the phone down, start really paying attention." I don't really dick around too much on my phone anyway, because I just kind of like sitting up there. So, about a couple minutes later, I look behind me, and this 8-point comes out. Nice rack on the right side, kind of jacked up on the left side. But about the same size as Garrett's buck, as far as body size.
Almost like our logo, maybe?
You know what? Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking of the whole thing. I was like, man, this is sort of a atypical, non-typical buck. Yeah. This would be perfect. That might have been what got me into trouble too. So he's walking in right to the corn pile, and I just looked at him and I go, okay, well this is it. My heart wasn't pounding. I wasn't nervous or anything. I was just like, all right. Well, I was getting excited. I'm like, good. I'm gonna get a buck today. Awesome. Like that's kind of how I was saying it in my mind. He's walking in, drew back, and just let her rip. Arrow hit.
So where did you think it hit? Like where were you aiming?
That's the problem. Because I rushed it, I looked for the color of the deer, and I didn't look for a specific hair. So, normally that shot, quartering to, when I'm shooting from about 20, 22 feet up in the air, that is a really high angle shot in a low percentage area. So it hit far back, might have clipped liver. From the blood, it looked like it hit the liver, but then went out through the gut. Right out to the pouch, and it made like a noise when it threw. I was like, "That's a lot of air that it just punched out."
Through, yeah.
So just from that noise, I was like, "Shit." So
and you would think the air would be coming from a lung shot, but no. You think it was like a gut shot? When you heard that?
It was like hitting a drum rather than hitting like a solid
like a pop
organ. Yeah, like a pop. It was a thud, And that could have nothing to do with it. I don't know. That's just my description of it. That's just my natural reaction from that sound was like that was not a high percentage shot. So I shot him. He ran directly underneath me, and without looking, I grabbed an arrow out of my quiver, thinking it was just one of the 5 that I have with a broadhead on it, or one of the 4 that I have with a broadhead on it. Not even thinking that maybe I could have potentially grabbed the one that had the field point on it. Drew back, blasted away, got stuck in his shoulder, and I think it just popped right out. Feel pretty shitty about that.
When it was running or something?
No, it was right underneath me. He was just trying to figure out what the fuck hit him the first time.
No, I mean the second arrow. Was it pass through?
No.
Okay.
No, it stuck in his shoulder, and then he knocked it out, because when I saw him, he ran off after the second shot to my right, cut back in, and I saw him leave the area kind of where those other bucks I had seen. So, and I looked on the ground. I saw blood on the ground, so I'm like, oh, good. I still got a blood trail, so this could be pretty good. Gave it about 20 minutes or so. I think I texted you. Texted Bobby. Texted my wife and brother and my dad. And started getting down. I went over and I looked. Arrow had a ton of blood on it. But that arrow also had a ton of white hair on it. And I was like,
once I saw that, I was like,
yeah. And even Lucas, he texted me later. He messaged me later. He's like, when you see that much white hair, that's usually not a good sign.
Yeah.
So I took my time, just watching for blood, and just went right to the edge of that, kind of that area where I was in before it got to this open field. Tracked the blood to one spot. There's a thicket right in front of it, and you can tell he probably stood there thinking about it for a little bit, and then he just took off. We never found any more blood sign after that.
You have anyone come out and help you look?
Well, Bobby came and helped me look.
Okay.
So we looked there. We trounced around there, and I don't know if this was a good decision or bad decision. Chances are, at the best, it was a liver shot. And so this is the first lesson learned here, outside of the arrow thing. Everything that I read and, just from experiencing this now, was if I think I hit liver, just back the fuck off. Don't even try to. Don't get too excited to go get it.
Well, same with a gut shot too, right?
Gut shot, they're likely going to survive.
Yeah.
Liver shot, they will die, but it's going to take a lot of time. And there won't be very much blood. So that's what I was kind of hoping for. This is after the fact now. That's what I was kind of hoping for. But there was no, we trounced around forever trying to find him, and just couldn't find any more blood after that one spot, which was about 100 yards away from where I shot him. So, the first lesson learned was if I thought it was a liver shot, back off, go in the next morning.
Right.
Or if it's the morning, go in there in the evening, something like that. So that was pretty disheartening. And then I went out the next morning trying to find him. I looked all over the field, just looked through the thickets. There's not much. When there was no blood trail, I got down on my hands and knees by where I saw the last blood. I couldn't find anything else. I checked all the thickets in the area. I went to another stand that he's got set up there permanently. Stood up there, glassed from there for a little bit. Stood on top of my truck over the field. Mm-hmm. Took the binoculars out and tried to look through some of the field, see if I could see something. But ultimately, I ended up not being able to recover them. So I got a feeling that.
So what was? Give me like a time frame on when did you shoot him? I don't remember. I have the text, but I don't remember what time that was.
So I shot him about 4. I think I texted you about 6:15 that we were backing out from looking for everything. Mm-hmm. Then I went back in the morning around 5 o'clock. First light was about 5:30, 5:15. I just wanted to get out there a little earlier. I didn't sleep that whole night. Sure. I was just kind of looking at the ceiling. I spent the night at Bobby's house because it's about an hour away from my wife's family's house. So I was able to spend the night there, which was nice. Got up, looked around, nothing.
And then you had to take off to get back here.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, I couldn't really sit out there the next day or anything to see if I'll come back because we had to get going, and my wife, we had to work today, so we had to leave last night. So it was a long, nice 6.5 hour ride home.
Is Bobby gonna keep looking for it at all?
So he said he's gonna look. He's gonna give it a try and look. It's 5 minutes from his house, so it's not a major taxing thing. But now he said he's just gonna look for buzzards around that area, and then he'll go grab the antlers if it did die. He predicts that it didn't die. I lean towards that. But I tell you, man, I feel sick. Still, I mean, that's why I'm glad we were able to record this, because I kind of felt a little bit of responsibility to kind of tell this story so that I could get some lessons learned out of it, and just kind of cap it, learn my lessons, and tweak what I do. But, I'm feeling a little bit better now, but when we started recording this, I was listening to your story, and I was just like, I'm just getting sick to my stomach right now.
Just thinking about it.
And I don't even care that, I care that, I wanted to, bring a buck home and everything like that. But that I shot the damn thing, and it's probably in pain. And, I just hate that. And
well, no one wants to cause the animals any undue harm. I mean, obviously we're going out to kill them.
Yeah.
And that's, our goal, but you don't want it to be any more painful or terror-ridden for them than it has to be. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that thing's scared out of its mind and in pain when it's running away. Yeah. But, you just have to take what happened and, learn from it and not do it again, right?
Be a little bit more responsible, kind of looking back at it now.
So is it just, do you think you just rushed the shot? Is that what it was?
So yeah, so let me, I kind of started a list in my mind of the things that went wrong here. First part was, I got too cocky. Just with this whole podcast thing, with success and trained to hunt, way too overconfident in my own skills to be able to, gotten almost to the point where, if you ask my brother and my dad, I was starting to give advice when it wasn't solicited. And not so much with you or with the podcast, but with them, I was like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I need to shut the fuck up and just focus on practicing my shot over and over and over again. Because I had some success with shooting, and I really didn't practice that much at the start of the season, and that's not good. That's the ultimate way of knowing if you're going to make a good shot, is if you practice it enough. So that was the first one. Second one now was definitely rush the shot.
Yeah.
Got jumpy, got excited, and just pulled back and just blacked out, let it go. And I saw the arrow go through and everything, but I completely disregarded my entire process.
So the aim small, miss small part was not there. It was here's body.
Hey, look, the body.
Yeah.
That was it. It was like shooting a gun.
Right.
And that's not why you bow hunt. You bow hunt to be precise, to have a very close encounter, and that's just, I robbed myself of that opportunity of having a close encounter that I could be proud of.
Right.
In replacement of that, I had an encounter with a deer that I fucked up, and that's what's making me. I think that's what's also making me kind of sick to my stomach about the whole thing. Thirdly, I got to back up on this one a little bit. My arrows. When I was putting my arrows together, I had 2 of my kudu point broadheads that I like to use. Those are my favorite ones to use. When I was putting the other broadheads on, I'm like, I don't necessarily like that I have different broadheads in this quiver right now. Mm-hmm. And thinking to myself, in hindsight now, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a problem for me somewhere. And I couldn't predict it. But the problem was that I didn't know which one had which broadhead in it because of everything going on, the chaos of the situation, wanting to get an arrow in them quick. And what you
don't keep them in the same spot all the time or something like that?
I do, but I just didn't think of that when I slammed my hand on my quiver and grabbed the arrow. Because like Gary taught, and this is one thing I did right, my teammate from Train to Hunt was like, as soon as you shoot, we have a two shot in 10 second, 2 shot in 15 second or whatever the hell it is. But I got to exercise that. That I did right. I just grabbed the wrong arrow. Where it's like, okay, grab the arrow, elbow on the string, slam the nock on, and get your release on your arrow. Mm-hmm. And then, just acquire the target. And the whole process, it was kind of, here's the good part. Shot the deer. He ran underneath me, went through that reload process, turned around 360 degrees, aimed down, and fired away again. So that whole thing that transpired in about 7-8 seconds. Mm-hmm. So that didn't necessarily I didn't give myself enough time to look in my quiver, grab the right arrow out, and then fire down. Had I done that, probably would have recovered the deer. Mm-hmm. Because any broadhead would have penetrated right where I shot. Right. But it was, it was a fucking field tip that I kept in there. So now with the arrows, and we have it pulled up on the screen now. I'm out quite a few arrows now. I think I have 4 left of the 20-something carnivores that I bought 6 months ago or so. Because they're awesome arrows, but they're brittle. So it's time to get new arrows. So I ordered all new matched arrows to the colors that I want. Ordered new broadheads, all the same broadheads.
So would you just get more kudos or something?
Just got more kudos, so that every arrow in my quiver is the exact same. So that it takes that guesswork out of it. That was one of the biggest lessons learned. That was my last opportunity. Second to last opportunity to recover that deer. Third, let it lie. Mm-hmm.
You said you got down after 20 minutes. That seemed really fast.
It was, because I was excited and jumpy, and I'm sure this is something that a lot of people probably listening, and just a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. The unfortunate part is my biggest successes come from when I really, either something terribly external happens that's out of my control, or if I really fuck up. Mm-hmm. This is one of those situations where I really fucked up. So what gives me confidence going forward is knowing that when a buck comes in again, this situation is not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be I will have put myself in as much of a position to be successful as possible. Nothing's ever guaranteed 100%. But now I know, take my time, pick a spot.
Would you wait for it to not be quartering 2 going forward?
Sure, wait for again. Yeah.
Or do you think you would take that shot?
So what my plan is when I was telling my wife this too, I was like, I need to get a 3D target and I need to practice that shot over and over again. Anybody can shoot broadside. Mm-hmm. Broadside, I need to practice broadside too, and I practice all of it. But a quartering 2 shot, you still have a chance at shooting the deer. What I should have done was I should have shot for the jugular, for it to go through the cavity at the heart. Just the way that it was angled. That's
a strong angle then. It's a real strong angle.
Yeah. But it was a big enough target
that
I could have made that shot. So I told my wife, I was just like, I need to get myself a 3D buck target, put the tree stand back up in the backyard, and just practice that shot over and over and over again. And she's like, well, that's kind of funny because Chris told me to get you a 3D deer target for Christmas. So it was already wrapped right there. She goes, why don't you just open your Christmas present now? So I opened it. I was like, oh, look, a Glendale buck. Well, perfect. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
But yeah, just I'm
going to throw a little humor in here. She ordered it, and she's like, it's not the one that you told me, but it's pretty close. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't order that one. Are you kidding me? Oh, she's like, what are you talking about? Why? What's wrong with this? And I was like, you're supposed to order this one. And I sent her a link to a blow-up sex doll. And she's like, you're such an asshat. So I thought that was a little...
That's pretty good. I didn't hear about that one. Yeah. I'll have to give her crap about that one.
And then I said, no, as that one's just fine. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of lessons learned. ultimately, I'm going to take your advice again, and I think this has kind of become the hashtag of me for the podcast and for hunting is just zen the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take. So I have my spot hog that's got that MRT, the three line MRT, and I'm gonna write it right on there. So that's the last thing I see when I shoot is just zen the fuck out, and hopefully that reminds me of this whole complete massive fuck up that I just had this weekend, and it'll run through my mind really quick before I take a shot and be like, all right.
Yeah, maybe it'll just give you a second thought first.
Yeah.
Make sure this is right or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that's a really crappy experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I would. I don't mean to make you feel worse about this, but I know I would feel terrible about it.
No, I do.
So
yeah.
I can only imagine.
I do, and I should.
What you're feeling like right now. And no one wants to do that, and I think it's good to talk about it because I'm sure people do that all the time.
Yeah, and I'm not even worried about someone will listen to this and be like, well, you shouldn't be hunting if you're wounding animals. Fuck off, because chances are anybody who said that has probably shot at an animal and missed or hit it in the ass or something. But it's
well on the bright side. The negative is it'll probably be in pain longer than it should have been, but on the bright side, something will eat it.
Yeah, if it dies, something will eat it.
It's just the course of nature at this point.
Yeah. So, it's just like you said, just regroup, just figure out what the hell I did wrong.
Yeah. Check
off my list and move on. There's nothing I can't go back in time. As much as I would love to keep replaying that in my mind, I think I'm just gonna drive myself crazy with it too. So, it was good to be able to just kind of air it out. And I was debating on sharing pictures of everything, but I'm like, people need to kind of hear the unsuccessful stories of this. Yeah. And I'm not a pro hunter by any means, but I'm a good shot. I'm a pretty decent shot, I like to think. But when you get into that situation, things just become different.
Right.
And, I guess it's okay to screw up. It's not the best thing in the world, but I think it's okay. You learn from it. If you can, you share your experience like this.
So is confidence still there? Or is there, I know you said you were overconfident maybe before, but has it gone down to an unacceptable level where you're going to be doubting yourself, or is it more just
no, I'm not gonna,
a slice of humble pie or something here?
Slice of humble pie, but I've been through a lot of things non-hunting related similar to this where it's been something pretty shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And
so for perspective, this is not so bad.
Yeah. Trust me. If anybody knows my story, they know that I've been through way worse than this. But the worst things that I've been through, be it some family stuff, be it through not getting into certain schools, hockey, I've always come out on top. Mm-hmm. Like when it comes to something really, really fucking bad, or devastating, or something that's a really major setback, I've always come back out on top. It may not have been immediately. But I always look back and remember when that thing got really fucked up? Now, this is, I had to work at it. I had to, there was something that I had to actively do to get to the point of success again. So I'm confident knowing that I know the process to success at this point, and I know that if I'm put in that situation again, it's going to be the best me in that situation. Yeah. So that's kind of the moral of the whole thing. Right. It's that's what I am confident in. My shooting, gotta get back to that.
Yeah, that's probably a good reminder. I mean, I haven't...
I think a lot of people don't.
I haven't shot in the last probably 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I probably should just make sure that my arrows are flying right, make sure that my sights are lined up properly still. I mean, you're bumbling around the woods and things get knocked around anyway.
You're dragging it up the tree, it's knocking against the tree. I've racked my string around my sight. And granted, we both shoot spot hogs, so those things are bulletproof. But
right.
Yeah.
But not that, I mean, even yesterday, I forgot my rope, my bow rope.
Oh, really?
To bring it up into the tree. So I had to figure out a way. I instead of using my climbing strap on me, I attached that to my bow and let that hang underneath.
Oh, so it's just dragging you
down. Carried up, yeah. But I'm pretty sure my sight was an 1/8 of an inch, or my peep sight was an 1/8 of an inch knocked off weirdly.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't straight, and it's usually straight. It's not an angled one on this bow. And I moved it back straight. I was like, I should probably check that one out again before.
Well, I got a new target.
You do have a new target. That's true.
So we can set that up.
So I'm gonna shoot this evening, I think, and make sure that it's still in the right area. Especially after your experience, I'm more paranoid about that now.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I think it's a good lesson. It makes me feel better about not shooting that doe that I could have shot.
Yeah.
The other day, because I would have really had to rush that. Mm-hmm. And I think I would have rather just let that go. And
I think you have more time than you realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you go through your correct process, if you just stand still, you know,
right.
then it's a different story. But
right,
if I guess once you have more time once you start your shooting process.
Yeah.
So you don't have all the time in the world if you're just standing there watching the deer. But once you decide that that's what you're going to shoot, and your process starts, that's when it's not the time to rush.
Yeah.
So if you take your time and it runs off, and then it just runs off.
So how, I guess to change gears a little bit, how was it hunting the private land compared to what we've been hunting?
We've only seen a handful of people out in public land. Mm-hmm. Here it was just there was nobody else out there, so when we were trouncing around looking for stuff, I wasn't worried about jacking up somebody's hunt. Mm-hmm. That's the only difference. I mean, there were a lot more.
Do you think the deer are less afraid of people because they only see Bobby and maybe whoever else hunts on that?
Yeah, they were not in as deep.
Yeah.
So they weren't as hidden away. They're pretty switched on still.
Yeah.
I'm fairly switched on still, but they didn't smell me at all. Mm-hmm. And I do a fair job at scent control, but they can't. Both the two that came from my right, including the one that I shot, came from downwind of me.
Right.
And didn't smell me. So I all I use is just the detergent and the spray.
Right.
I don't use anything else. So I must have been high enough up that they weren't smelling me or something.
Right.
Or the thermals were the right way or whatever. But overall, I think I'm not. I haven't given up on this season. We haven't given up on this season after not shooting or not getting them. But I think we're due for some success.
Yeah, I feel like I need it right now.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with my confidence level. I mean, Friday was really cool, mm-hmm. being on that buck on the ground, like being real near that. But that was my first. I mean, I've been at it for a month and a half, and I've been out a bunch, and that was the first time I was like near enough a buck to shoot at it.
Yeah.
I've only seen 2 bucks this season so far. One was at before I was at 75, and then came into around 60. And then this one was super close, which was cool. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, perked you up a little bit.
It did, but then like yesterday, I heard that buck again. Mm-hmm. At last light, like last shooting light, I heard it rubbing on a tree. I'm like, bastard! Like it knows it's dark out now. I can't shoot at it.
Yeah.
And I could hear it. Like I know the tree that it's on, rubbing on, but there's no way for me to set up on that.
Yeah.
Where that is. I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to get into this.
Yeah.
It's like, do I just let this buck go and go somewhere else, or should I keep trying at this one and just test my patience here? So I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm getting a little frustrated, I think, with what's happening. I thought I was gonna see a lot more doe activity. Mm-hmm. And if we recap back to like our first the episodes beginning of the season, like I wanted to get a buck. I didn't care how big or small it was, and a couple does to fill the freezer. And I thought for sure I'd get a doe early season. Mm-hmm. I was hoping I'd get a buck right around now, and then a doe late season. That was my mindset at least. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even close to that right now.
Yeah.
So my goals are way out the window, and now I'm just hoping I get to kill a doe by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If I'm not set up in the right places. I mean, there's deer sign everywhere I'm set up. The wind seems to be fine. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong.
I think where it comes from though, like it's in that Sitka film too, that Quiet Place. You're just doing just failure after failure after failure, and
mm-hmm.
you're just kind of making a decision that you just start checking off little things, and it's gonna. I mean, the thing is, this is not gonna be the last failure that either of us are gonna have. It's not failure. It's just a little bit. We're gonna figure out
No, it's a failure. We talked about this. You can have a
know,
failure and still learn. Doesn't mean it's not a failure.
But we've kind of got a formula of, okay, we failed at this. What do we need to change?
Right.
We're not doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
You know, like when we're not seeing something somewhere, we're not seeing any sign. Like you went and you get down and you scout around a little bit, and then you pivot.
Right.
You know, and I pivot in different ways too. So eventually we're gonna have some success. I'm hopeful. So it can, it's hunting, so anything can change in an instant.
The one thing that gets me is the place that I've seen the most deer is Des Plaines. And you can only hunt there on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I can't typically hunt both Monday and Tuesday. Like I can hunt one of those days usually.
Yeah.
I'm going to go tomorrow morning, and I'll be out there for a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have to wait a whole other week before that happens, even though I know there's sign there. I mean, the good thing is no one else can hunt there.
Yeah.
At that time, but
you're just itching to get back out there.
Right, it's killing me.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's probably a good practice in not going into the same place over and over again. Not that I do that anyway. I mean, each time I've been there, I've probably been in a different place, except for one time I sat in the same tree. So I'm gonna try to get out there tomorrow morning, but it's a weird emotional ride right now. Like every time I'm driving down there to get out there, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then at the end of each night or morning, I'm like, bastard, this is like the worst day. Like, why didn't I see anything? Or, like, what's going on? It's really just the days that I don't see any deer that it gets me. Like,
yeah.
I was super psyched up yesterday evening going out because there was fresh scat on the trail I was walking out to get onto the tree that I was going to. And like it was like steaming. Like it was the deer had just taken the dump right there.
You just took a deuce.
I'm like, okay, it's definitely here.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything like run off when I was walking through, and it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like it was a time where I wouldn't expect many deer to be out and about. But
this time you just don't know any.
Yeah, right. I mean, is the rut still going on? Are we late now, or is it are we in post rut at this point?
I think we're
it's
towards
November 18th right now.
I think we're towards the end of it. Maybe another week to it. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard any bucks fighting, which I was hoping I would hear this year.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. The only rattling I've heard has been me and other hunters once in a while.
And you rattling at another hunter? And
he rattled at me. I rattled, and then he rattled at me, or whatever. I don't know why that guy did that. It was weird.
And just letting you, hi, how you doing?
Right. I mean, he was pretty far. He was probably 300, 400 yards away from me, but it was odd.
Well, maybe we'll see something in gun season. I'll go try and get my gun permit today.
Yeah.
And we can get out, because Saturday, the wives are planning on going shopping. Which means,
are they?
Yes.
Oh,
which means that
okay.
Me and you are going hunting.
Well, I'm gonna try to go. Well, I'm gonna go tomorrow, and I really, really hope I kill something tomorrow because I want my first deer to be a bow deer.
Yeah.
Like I know, I was talking to Luke's about this as well, and he's like, "There's two firsts. There's your first bow deer and your first gun deer," and I get that, but I really want it to be a bow deer first.
Yeah. With slug,
so, who knows?
I mean, with the shotgun slug, at the same time, the close experience. I think you'll still get the close experience from it.
Well, I realize I can't find my slug barrel for my shotgun.
I found mine.
So I'm gonna have to do buckshot, I think. Which will limit my range, obviously. So it's gonna be basically the same range as it would be for a bow.
Yeah. Well, even with the slug, I mean, 100 yards is a stretch with those.
Yeah, but I'd feel comfortable shooting a slug out to like 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that buck I saw the other day that was 75 to 60. I mean, I would have shot that.
Shoot it in the face.
And I would have felt confident in that. I'm definitely a better shot with the gun than I am with the bow.
Yeah.
At least I think I am right now.
Yeah.
Which most people probably are, I would imagine.
That's a little bit more user friendly.
Right. Things don't move around as much on a shotgun.
Yeah. So mine's iron sight. Did you have a scope?
No, just iron
sight. Yeah, it's mine. It's iron sight too. So.
But I mean, I've shot that for a long time. It's the same shotgun that my dad has. So I've shot that my entire life. That same style. Like I'm very familiar with it. I'm pretty accurate with it, but I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna scoff at shooting a deer with the shotgun.
Yeah.
I think
just let it happen. Whatever's going to happen here, we just kind of let it happen.
I'm not even going to be too confident in that with what else I've been seeing. I mean, hopefully I see something, but I feel like if I'm within range, I'm just going to be happy.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that's coming up. So I'm gonna get out there tomorrow, maybe Friday morning and then Saturday morning with you. Yeah. Do you know how long they're shopping for on Saturday?
As long as we're hunting, they'll be fine.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the plan. But
right.
Kind of wish we had better news for everybody, but I mean we got some news.
Yeah.
Some news.
Yeah. It's alright. There's good takeaways there.
Yeah.
And there is still plenty of season left, so.
Yeah. So hopefully, by the end of the season, you'll have a picture of one of us with a deer or raccoon or possum or something.
Yeah, I should have shot that.
Something that we fucking
stupid
shot.
Possum yesterday.
Oh.
There's a squirrel real close to me yesterday too. I could have taken it.
Pinned it against the tree.
It was on the ground. It would have been easy. But oh well. Oh well. But all right. I guess takeaways are zen the fuck out when you're going through your process, right? I'm gonna get you like like what would Jesus do wristbands, but just gonna say zen the fuck out on it.
I'd appreciate
that. That way you have that all the time.
We'll have a whole apparel line by the time the season's over. And remember,
ZTFO.
Zen the fuck out.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, hopefully everyone else is having some success. I know we've had a couple people getting some deer this season.
Some people passing on deer, Lucas.
Yep. Which is okay. He thinks that's okay, which is fine.
Yeah,
Alan Yates got his first buck I saw on Instagram a couple days ago.
Good.
We've been messaging him a little bit on the gram.
JT Bouchard, after I told him I missed that buck, he said, "Oh, that sucks, man. Hey, look at this New York buck I just pounded."
So people are having success.
Yeah.
So that's good.
People we know.
It is possible.
Like on a personal basis.
I would like to see someone in our area get a nice buck, which Lucas is in our area, so he's been the closest so far.
Quit passing on bucks, you fuck.
But we'll get there eventually. But as always, make sure you guys are leaving reviews, whether good or bad. That's fine. It's always good to get feedback on that, and then like and subscribe if you can. And happy hunting.
Zen the fuck out.